Hey everyone! In today's video I want to talk about video game recommendations. There's a lot of video games that I never would have gotten into if others hadn't recommended them to me based on my personal preferences. Video games like Animal Crossing, or my girlfriend getting me into Uncharted, which I absolutely love. The Elder Scrolls, I started with Morrowind but I don't have the physical, or even like great recommendations like Astral Chain. Recommendations are a way to discover new games you wouldn't have gotten into per se if others hadn't been like, hey, but you like this game, so why not try out this game? And in today's video I want to give you my #1 most recommended game that I feel would appeal to a lot of people. Now my favorite video game of all time is Button Kaitos, Eternal Wings and the Lost Ocean. I do not recommend this game in general to a lot of people because first off, it's a hardcore RPG. You need to first off love RPGs. It has a very peculiar battle system, even among Button Kaitos fans. Some of them complain about dumb shit like the voice acting sounded like somebody's talking into a can of cola. You know, everybody, even within the fans, have complaints about this game. I think it's perfect, but that's why I wouldn't recommend it. But there is a game that I also really love, my second favorite game of all time. And I often recommend this to people, but people, you know, when somebody recommends a game to you, often people like brush it off like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll try it someday, but no. In this video, I'm going to convince you to try out Darksiders 2. And Darksiders 2 is an incredible game. I started with the Wii U version. I started with Darksiders 2, not the first one. I think this is the true definitive version with the gamepad usage, the better colors and everything, but for the sake of this video, of actually updating a recommendation to a lot of people, we're going to be talking about the definitive version. Because the definitive version comes with all the DLC, it has upgrades to things like the frame rate, the lighting. It removes some of the colors, but in the end, as a recommendation, this would be the way to go. So, why should you play Darksiders 2? First, we have to get a little bit in the story. You do not need to play Darksiders 1 in order to play Darksiders 2. The stories run parallel to each other, and in a few short sentences, the second game will sum up what the first game was about. The story of Darksiders 2 is you play as one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. You are Death. And Death sets out on a personal quest to save his brother War, who's been wrongly accused of prematurely setting afoot the actual apocalypse and dooming mankind. So Death is on a quest to save his brother War by reviving mankind. That alone is awesome. My first recommendation, a game to link it to, is games like Dark Souls, Bloodborne.
They failed me, but you have earned my gratitude. I will send you to one in my kingdom who knows the way to the Well of Souls. But first, there are demons that you must face.
I've already faced and killed many.
Not like these. There is great power bound in that amulet, but your shame stays its unlocking.
I regret nothing.
Oh, I can see beyond your flesh to where the true battle rages.
Darksiders has a really dark atmosphere. It harkens back to things like the Bible. It uses a lot of things like the horsemen, heaven and hell. It is an absolutely incredible dark story with amazingly drawn characters by Joe Mad, who's worked on things like Marvel in the past. It's absolutely ridiculous. I love the story. I like the things that have to do with the horsemen, but that's why there's a broad appeal when it comes to the story, because it deals with this really dark stuff that a lot of people seem to be into these days. The main difference why I would suggest starting with Darksiders 2 also compared to Darksiders 1 is locations. Darksiders 1 plays primarily on Earth. 95%, if not 100, because I don't remember it exactly anymore. It's been a long time since I've played the first one. But the majority of Darksiders 1, you're on Earth. In Darksiders 2, you barely scrape Earth. Most of the time, you're playing in these amazing realms. You're playing in the actual kingdom where the dead go. You're going to heaven. You're going to hell. You're in the Maker's realm. This incredible realm that has this whole runic, dwarven feeling. With these giant dwarvens with these Scottish accents, like high fantasy stuff, but their own take on dwarves. It is extremely cool. These makers, they have built worlds and they're more ancient than the writers themselves.
Death. A bad omen, yet our best hope.
I still don't know what the tears are, Maker.
Then listen well. Long ago, the Creator formed a mountain, the Stone Father. For eons, that mountain towered over the abyss. From the mountain's depths flowed raging fire, and from its peaks, pure water. Where the two met, the mountain grew, and from that came the first world, the Maker's realm.
The tears belong to this mountain, then?
Aye, and still we forge as the Stone Father did. With his fire and tears, we can build nothing without them.
The worlds are just fascinating in Darksiders 2, and you get to see a lot of different locations. There's a lot of variety in it. On top of that, it adds this fake open world aspect that I really like. When I say fake open world, I mean it's not going to be like the Elder Scrolls, you know, or Fallout. It's not going to be an actual real open world. But what it does is like what Ocarina of Time does, or Twilight Princess, like segmented open world sections where you're free to roam and you have specific things you have to do in that world. And Darksiders 2 adds real horseplay. There's a purpose to riding your horse. You could ride your horse in the first Darksiders, you can't in the third. But the second one really makes use of vast open areas to explore, because there are things to find in every nook and every cranny. There's like things to collect and things to do. There's hidden enemies, hidden super bosses. There's so much to do. And this goes into the second recommendation, The Legend of Zelda. Everybody loves The Legend of Zelda. If you don't like The Legend of Zelda, you haven't played any of the games. These games are art. And Zelda is structured in a way where you have these fake open worlds and you have things to do in these worlds. There's like dungeons to find, and Darksiders 2 does that. Old school Zelda. Semi-open world where you have dungeons to find. Every dungeon has a specific theme, and this is like a quest, and there's things to do in the open world, and there's these quests, and the gameplay within the dungeons feels like Zelda. You move around, you battle a little bit. It's a love letter to the Legend of Zelda franchise, which is stated like that by the devs. That was the whole purpose of the game, and it works, and it is a better Zelda game than most Zelda games, and that's just one of the best recommendations you can give. On top of that, what it adds compared to the first game is real RPG elements. And these RPG elements lead up to my third recommendation. If you love RPGs, be it Western RPGs specifically, or even Japanese RPGs, you get these elements in this game. You get leveling up, you get skill trees, and all this stuff was not in the first game. You have gear that mattered, gear that changes depth's appearance. You have new weapons that change. You have secondary weapons. And secondary weapons leads into my fourth recommendation, extreme action combat. If you love video games like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, you will love the gameplay in Darksiders 2. Because Darksiders 1, war felt very slow and dodge rolly. It was kind of like Dark Souls, the gameplay, if you want to have a reference to it. But Darksiders 2, the gameplay, it's fast, it's quick. Death moves like an animal. His sights are super fast. You can hit multiple buttons, you hold a button down to do a different combo, you combine it with a different button for your secondary weapon, so you have like a scythe attack followed by a hammer attack or a gauntlet attack or a bigger sword attack. There's like all kinds of secondary weapons that you can combine with your main weapon, the scythes, and depending on like how often you hit a button, the combination with the secondary weapon, how long you press the button down, you can even combine all this stuff with jumping, have like aerial combos. It feels like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, and I love that about it. Eventually you actually also unlock guns that you could use in these combos. There's a ridiculous amount of special attacks. Like I said, there's specific skill trees. One that focuses more on physical attacks, one that focuses more on arcane attacks. You can summon the dead to fight with you. The combat system is extremely cool, it is easy to control, and it feels right. On top of all of that, Darksiders 2 has a perfect soundtrack by Jasper Kidd, who also worked on games like Assassin's Creed, for example. This is the only game in the franchise that uses Jasper Kidd, and it's sad because Darksiders 1 and 3 are more background atmosphere, but Darksiders 2 has a god tier soundtrack which is absolutely incredible. It's orchestrated, it's amazing. You have all these different instruments that add these melodies and these tones, and they just create such a world. For example, the Maker's theme, you hear the Maker's theme and it just has that dwarven elvish vibe to it. It is so perfect. The Kingdom of the Dead, this whole mysterious soundtrack, and let's not even talk about the Guardian theme. So if you enjoy video games like Dark Souls, Bayonetta, The Legend of Zelda, or even if you're a massive RPG fan, Darksiders 2 is my ultimate recommendation to you, and it always will be, because I feel it ticks so many boxes for so many different gamers. The biggest one being The Legend of Zelda. If you love The Legend of Zelda, specifically the old school games, you will absolutely love Darksiders 2. But the same again goes with the combat. It has perfect Bayonetta style combat. The worlds are beautifully designed. The incredible soundtrack, the dark vibes like Dark Souls and Bloodborne give you. There is something for everybody. There's great RPG elements that will have everybody just skimming through the menus, what kind of gear to equip, what works best with the arcane, what works best with death at this level, what attacks do I get here, what attacks do I want death to have. It has that customization thing that I also really enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this recommendation. Please try it out. Darksiders 2, the definitive edition. It's very cheap right now. You can find it anywhere, like secondhand for like 10 bucks. And new, it's like 20 bucks. You can get it easily. It's an incredible piece of art, and I truly hope you check it out. And in the comment section, let me know if you have already played this one, if you are going to play it. And specifically, give me a recommendation that you have for me. Give me one video game that you think would fit for me, if you know what I like. Or even if you just really enjoy a game and you want more people to play it. Let me know in the comment section, write it down. Also, if you enjoyed this content, consider subscribing. I noticed in my statistics that a lot of people who watch my videos aren't even subscribed, and I don't even have that many subscriptions. So check my other videos out, subscribe, come back here for more content. There will be a lot more gaming content in the future. I do gameplays like this, top 10s, I do reactions. You will find anything gaming on my channel. Stay real.